Hi guys, welcome to the video. Today I'm just basically going to show you the same thing that I showed you in the last video, but we're going to get more in depth into massage and maybe possibly I would call this a deep tissue massage. Now it all depends on what your client prefers. So sometimes they prefer a lighter massage as what we call Swedish massage. And then, you do have your people that like deeper tissue. So basically, I'm warming up the muscles and making sure that the whole back is covered in oils so I'm able to get a nice, smooth, rub massage. And then I start off in warming up each side of the muscle, and you'll see throughout this video that I pretty much use all my weight. I'm not necessarily using just my hands. A lot of people tend to just use their hand muscles instead of their body. And then most cases when you're massaging someone, you want to make sure that you lean into it. So what you're kind of seeing here, I kind of am leaning into it with my whole body. As I'm following back down, I am kind of taking pressure off of my front foot. So kind of like you're doing a lunge when you're pushing upward. So basically, I'm going to let you guys watch it from here, and I will come back in later and explain more what I do. But yeah, just pretty much warming up the muscles until I can see or feel them loosen. And sometimes you can usually, when you start to feel like you're actually really warmed up, it's when the skin is a little red. Then you're sort of feeling heat, which means that it's more deep integrated into the deep tissue of the muscle. So, yeah, just pretty much warm the muscle up, manipulate it, get it going, get the blood flowing. And then we're going to go ahead and do INIT, which is basically working on trigger points. Right now, I'm kind of like doing a little bit of both, warming up, not as deep pressure yet. But as I'm kind of still warming up one side, stretching the muscle like that is also a good thing to do. And you guys can do this to your friends or family, and you don't necessarily have to have me explain everything because most people learn visual. However, I am going to be speaking throughout this whole video kind of here and there, but I just wanted to say that when you do massage on somebody, make sure that you know what amount of pressure to give them. Make sure you never work on a muscle too much. If you notice a client to start to flinch or get very twitchy, or you start to notice them not be in a very comfortable pain, because you kind of want them to feel like, ooh, it hurts so good type of thing, more or less than hurting. It's sort of like a relief when you release a knot. I don't know if any of you guys have had a massage before, but this is basically how I normally would massage my clients when I used to work at a few places. Now right here, I'm kind of showing you that the scapula, if you put their arm behind their back like this and raise their scapula, what we call scapula, up, you can really get underneath there and find all of the trigger points or satellite trigger points, which are a few of them probably in a line or zigzagged. But you basically just pinpoint them directly, not too much pressure, but make sure that you're getting it well deep in there, and try to work it out. Usually they do take quite a few times going over them to really kind of release. Not always will you have trigger points release in the same day. Sometimes they can be a little bit stubborn, so maybe a few sessions might be needed. And you should always pull the arm downward to kind of stretch that top muscle, because this is the next area that I'm going to work on, is the shoulder. Now the shoulder, the top of the shoulder where I'm pinpointing, is called the trap muscle. And that muscle often tends to get quite a bit of tight, only because a lot of people carry stress in their shoulders. So if you really want to kind of pinpoint it directly, just find wherever they're holding the most tension and pinpoint it. While you're pinpointing it, it's a really good idea to distract them, along with maybe massaging another part of their back, consisting of me rubbing their lumbar, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm sort of kind of manipulating the muscles down there too, so that way he's not really focusing on one pinpoint spot. He's more or less focusing on the whole massage itself, and that kind of helps your client feel a little bit more relieved, as we would say. So they're not like focusing on the knot that you're working on, they're more focusing on the whole aspect of it. Again, I'm working on the trap muscle. There's another trigger point I found on top of the trapezius muscle, which is right on the top layer of the shoulder. Sometimes the client may want you to dig in just a tad bit more. Some clients prefer more pressure than others, but in most cases, it should not hurt as much as you think it will. So, some are more painful than others because you hold a lot more stress up there. But as you can see, he's sort of moving a little bit, which means you got to always pay attention to their body language. If they flinch or if they're twitching a little bit, that's pretty much them telling you should back off a little bit. So keep that in mind also. So I'm basically doing the same thing I did on the other side, now on this side. Just warming up and gradually going in to a deeper pressure to work on the more integrated, deep tissue. was going to say earlier, if you guys want to try to follow along to more videos like this to learn how to massage your partner or to massage a friend, or if you just want to learn for fun, like this video, comment down below yes, and then also share with your friends and let me know what they think as well. And make sure you also, if you're not a subscriber, subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. I could start a series if anybody would like that to see that. But let me know in the comments if you would like to see that. Type yes. Again, subscribe to my channel for more. And I'm also giving away some giveaway surprises later March. So like almost the ending of March, I'll be doing a few giveaways. So go ahead and over to my other giveaway video that I have uploaded now. Sorry, I can't talk. Uploaded now, and you guys should go check it out. It explains all on how to have your chance to win a giveaway. So I'm just kind of manipulating still, but also working on the shoulder and the traps, which is the top of the shoulder. Now, sometimes you may notice your client move his shoulder or her shoulder up, and that is specifically because there may be a trigger point that's bothering them and that's maybe overly sensitive or tight, or they could be ticklish because they are tight there in their shoulder. A lot of the times when there is a tight muscle, especially in the shoulder/neck area, it can be quite ticklish at first. Usually mainly because the muscle is so tight and uptight and has a trigger point there. It's often carried higher than the other shoulder. And as you can see, his left shoulder on this side that I'm working on is risen a little bit higher than the other one, which indicating that he has a problem area on the top of his traps, which is the trapezius muscle, which is right where I was just digging. Those areas are very common to have tight tension pressure. Sometimes it can also be sore there right after you get done working on it. The next day they could be a little sore from deep tissue as well, and that is completely normal. But that is also something that you should be aware of if you were to ever get a deep tissue massage. And also an endangerment site is the spine. When you're working on someone's back, you want to always make sure you avoid the spine. Deep pressure on the spine can often, make injuries, bruising, you're really risking it when you work on the spine. You can do a little bit of light pressure on the spine. That is always okay, but you want to make sure that you don't apply like an elbow, let's say, to your spine or to your client's spine. That can also hurt and be very painful. So always make sure when you massage somebody that you massage with pressure, but you also try to go on each side of the back and avoid the spine in the middle, which I show you in the beginning and also in the middle of this video. Here is where I show you to go up the spine, but not touching the spine. So each side of the spine, this often feels really good when you use your palms downward and do that sort of massage sweep. Here is where I'm sort of cupping my hands and slapping them against the skin. This sort of helps to manipulate and wake up and stimulate the muscles so that way they're not as relaxed because I'm going to work a little bit more deeper into the tissue. So that is why I did that. But that often feels kind of good and relieving to sort of get some feeling back, because some people, have if you have too much stimulation in one side or too much friction, it can often be, irritating the skin. So sometimes I like to do that a little bit to sort of stimulate and wake up the skin cells and the muscles and the tissues inside the back. Now, these are the forearm back sweeps. Now, normally I try not to apply too much pressure, mainly because if I do apply a lot of pressure, I'm using my elbow, so you don't want it to seem unpleasant. But these forearm sweeps are actually quite pleasing. They do feel good with just amount of pressure on the back. That's actually my favorite move to do because you're not using your hands, you're more or less using your forearms, and you are able to get more of a good body stance. Now we're getting towards the end, so I'm sort of cooling down the body and the muscles because they were really overworked. Not really overworked, but they were worked enough to the point where it is time to cool down. So what I do to cool down is basically what you do before with kind of like a medium pressure, by not necessarily warming up, but cooling down. So just pretty much a little bit of a rub down. But I did kind of find a knot, I see. So I'm choosing to work on it real quick. Sometimes I'd like to do this right before I cool down because I have a little bit of an OCD problem sometimes. Don't worry, the client didn't mind, but I just wanted to tell you guys that occasionally, sometimes, but right before you cool down the muscles and you find a really quick knot, it's okay to work on them. Just as long as that you're not working on them too much, or if you notice that your client is really starting to get irritable on that side, make sure you ask them, hey, do you want me to take a break? Indicating to them that you are always able to keep an open book and listen. if they have a request for you to stop, normally that's your indication that you should and work on something different. But yes, that is pretty much this concludes of this video. I know there's probably about 8 minutes left of it. So yeah, I'm just pretty much massaging, manipulating each side until I feel like the body is totally relaxed. And if you don't feel any more knots, that normally is indicating that you did a really good job. If your client is also not responsive or asleep or snoring, that is also normal too. A lot of the times massage is actually that it actually feels really good, like really, really, really good. So right here, I'm sort of kind of kneading back and forth between the trapezius muscle and also the shoulder blades, right in between there. That is also a good thing to do if your client has broad shoulders or very tight shoulders. This is also a good technique to use. You just find the little groove in the shoulder blade on top of it and sort of trace it and pinpoint the middle. Sometimes they do have a tender point, which is a very tight area that also feels good when you press down deep into that tissue or scar tissue. Well, not scar tissue, but tissue in general and the muscle over that piece of bone. It sort of kind of feels good for the patient, and sometimes can relieve a little bit of stress and tension there. So that is also good to use. So basically, I'm just muscle stripping, doing a lot of muscle stripping and pressing, making sure that everything is sort of loose. You want to make sure that your muscles are very loose and relaxed, and you are okay to feel heat. So if you do feel heat radiating from the skin, it's normal. So make sure that your tissues and like your muscles aren't as tight as normal after you're done doing this. Now, if they're still tight, that means that you could possibly need, a day rest and then go back at it, because sometimes you may not always get, 100%, no knots, no trigger points, no tender points. In most cases, you'll need to go back for a second massage. Now right here, I'm sort of stretching the shoulder and pressing it downward. Now this kind of helps stretch out the muscle. And when you're stretching out the muscle, that can kind of alleviate some of the tension that's built up there. And that concludes today's video. I hope you guys liked it. Subscribe for more and like this video, and also comment down below if you would like to see more.